Okay, good. So let's go to the presentation. Okay. The importance of research in creative writing and some pitfalls that you may want to avoid. I'm gonna say it in English and then I'm gonna translate it in Armenian. Is that okay? Or don't you? Good? Okay. So, ուրեմն խոսում ենք հետազոտության մասին, ստեղծագործական գրության մեջ։ Okay? Եթե ես անգլերեն եմ ասում, հետո հայերեն եմ մոռանում եմ ասեմ, եթե որևէ մետեղ, որևէ պատճառով ուզում եք կանգնեմ եւ հայերենի մասին խոսենք, ինձի անպայման ասեք, էսի bilingual workshop-ը. So the workshop is bilingual. So if I say something in a language and I don't translate it, just let me know, okay? And like I will translate it immediately. Good. So let's get started with this. How many of you have heard this sentence? Write what you know. What does it mean? Like, what do you think of when somebody tells you to write what you know? I think career այնինչ որ գիտես.
Like, write about your more like an experience you know directly and relate to. To actually know.
Very good, very good. And people on Zoom, if you ever want to add anything, let me know, okay? Just start talking. Perfect. Yeah. They say this a lot, right? Write what you know. Don't write something that you don't know about. And most of the time, yeah, it looks like our own personal experience. Մենք գնում ենք մեր փորձառությունները ման ենք գալիս եւ իրա ներսից ինչ որ մի հատ բան գտնում ենք, մասեն խոսում ենք, we find something from our own personal experiences and we talk about that because that is what we know. For example, this work. Is there anyone who would like to read this? You can read it off the PDF that I've shared in the group as well. Is there anyone who would like to read it for us? In English or in Armenian? Doesn't make a difference. You can also approach the screen if you want.
I'm actually trying to catch the rhythm to know if I can read this or not.
I'll go here.
You go the first one, he'll go the second one.
Okay. We're just doing one paragraph at a time. Actually, one second.
It's the first picture in the group too. Like if you're more comfortable with pictures.
I think so. Okay. So it has come to this. Insomnia at 3:15 a.m. The clock tolling its engine. The busyness of words keeps me awake. I'm drinking cocoa. Keep going? Oh, sorry.
So, do I read more?
Yeah, you can go.
I would like a simple life, yet all that I'm laying poems away in a long box.
Go on.
Okay.
Read until the end if you
Like I
want.
figured we were gonna reading the paragraphs, so okay.
Yeah.
What do you want?
You continue.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. It is my immortality box, my layaway plan, my coffin.
All night dark wings flopping in my heart, each an ambition bird.
I must get a new bird and a new immortality box. There is folly enough inside this one.
Thank you. So, an experience that's very personal, right? About like the writer's own ambition, whatever, about Anne Sexton's emotions or ambition, whatever. Her experience of writing poetry. But my question is this, can you think of any problems here that can present themselves? This is a beautiful poem, and some of the most beautiful poetry is written based on our own personal experiences, but can you think of a potential problem that can occur if we only write what we already know. Եթե մենակ գրենք այն ինչ որ արդեն գիտենք, այն ինչ որ մեր փորձառություններն են, մեր անցյալն է, whatever. If we only write about what we know, what we already know.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's sort of self-explanatory that if you write what you know, you're going to soon be writing only one, like this little bubble that you keep yourself inside. It pretty much makes sense. So I think it's not about writing what you know, it's more about presenting what you know. But you can, if you're experimenting, if you're sort of learning, that's pretty much how it goes. We never know everything from the get-go, so we have to learn. But if you sort of have to present, when it comes to presenting, when you're telling someone, I've written something, look, it has to be something that you can stand behind, like something you can support. So for that reason, I think it's oversimplified, but it makes sense to say that we have to write what we know, something that we've learned already, something we can support, and something that stands on its own.
Wonderful, thank you. So people on Zoom, I'm just going to recap what your name?
Arman. It's
Arman. Oh, good to meet you in person.
I thought I figured, so I didn't really say that. But actually, I've found the books that you sent me. Like I'm still in the process. That I didn't really just get into it as deep, so that's why I haven't replied yet.
Perfect. Good for you. Oh, I thought I knew your voice.
It's me.
Very nice. Welcome. Good. So everyone, Arman spoke about how, first of all, limiting it could be if we just stay limited to what we already know. He spoke about learning something and then writing about what we learn. Not just writing whatever we want, but learning and then writing about that. And basically, yeah, so there is a picture of a fence here. This is basically me making it nice and just trying to show that it can be limiting. Կարող է մեզի սահմանափակի, եթե մենք մենակ գրենք մեր մասին. Ճիշտ է, we can search our own experiences, we can go wild with our own past, with our own backgrounds, whatever. But sometimes, Batahat, welcome. Sometimes you just need materials. And so, brainstorming. What good is research in creative writing? Brainstorming.
Really to collect materials that you can mix and match and see what can you make of it.
Very good.
Getting to know new things that you haven't really thought you could mix and match.
Very good. So, new things, mixing, matching, new stuff. Stuff you didn't even know you were interested in.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, learning things more in depth and learning to consider them from a different perspective.
Depth. Very good. Very good. The possibility of changing perspectives. Climbing outside of yourself, right? Because you're reading about other people, you're talking to other people. Good. What else? What do you think?
I'm still stuck, I think, in the previous question, because it was like, that's kind of not possible, like it's possible to write about something, you know, because like you, even in that kind of writing, like as Saxon, you would be, like, in any case, you would just like write, and then in the process of writing, find out things. It's a research as well, like the process of writing, even if about something like you thought you research yourself.
That's a beautiful point of view, yeah.
But
Go
about
on.
this one, it's also like when you do this, like the perspective things, it's also kind of, this sounds not good probably, but it's like when you try to like deep voice, not like deep voice, but also like share that experience not with a reader like afterwards, but like in the process of making it, sort of like making it a collective work in a way, like as much as you can.
Very good. Did I get this right? Like not being just you when you're writing, but also taking other people into consideration? Did I get it right?
Connecting like before, like,
perspective. So everyone on Zoom, just recapping, Giulietta talked about the idea of writing and writing and writing about what you already know to figure something out. And I totally agree. Like when I say like let's do research, I'm not saying that that's not valid. That is totally valid. It's just a question of also, as Giulietta added, kind of being able to see things from other points of view as well. Kind of being interested in something that's outside and then seeing how we're engaging with that ourselves. Yeah, thank you, Giulietta, and thank you, Arma. Hasbik, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't actually really research ever.
Thank you!
I only know what I know. I don't know new things.
Oh, that is very good. Thank you, Hasbikjan. Honestly, thank you for saying that. Because honestly, you can write many pieces without research, but I'm very happy that we're here talking about like what you can explore if you want.
I want to specify, like, it's not really an absence of research. It's just not active research. Like I'd probably argue that it works like that because like intrinsically we're not inspired. Like we learn things and we see things and we hear things that we later want to reproduce in a way that's more personal to us and more like feels more right to do so. But I like that. Like I don't know if that's the right word. I'm guilty of that as well. It's just that I've been trying to take control of that because I really like making things that I can't really say where did that come from. And I would want to add another thing as well. Why research would be important is just that it allows us to sometimes learn more about ourselves, like about our own true opinions. Like that's something that we heard somewhere else and we just took it, okay, this is what I think. Like really getting to know what we think about things. Because okay, if this is so and this is so, then I think it makes sense if I were to say that I think so. And that's a really important thing as well because our lives, I don't know if it's a happy life is just a successful chase about after yourself, like a successful 360 of going somewhere else and coming back to yourself, like becoming yourself. That's what a fulfilling and happy life is supposed to be. And again, research helps that. Like getting to know things on a good depth and on a good spread. Like that's how we sort of go happy.
Yeah.
Research makes people happy.
That is very nice, Armanjan. I would like to. What happened?
It's just bugging for whatever reason. Actually, I just didn't want to interrupt you.
I can get more if you want.
Yeah.
It's been like that for a while, hasn't it? People on Zoom, how are we feeling? Are you with us? Maggie's waving. Good. So I'm just going to say what Arman just said. So he said we need to do research. Heaven help me. We need to do research because it also brings us out from, it saves us from just accepting something that someone may have said or something we may have read somewhere. And it moves us towards a greater degree of complexity, being able to judge, being able to think critically about something. Կարողանանք ավելի
Thinking independent.
critically, ավելի անկախ մտածենք, չէ՞ որ օրինակ մի բան մետեղ կարդացի, թե մեկը մի բան ասած, եւ օրինակ ես արդեն դրա վրա ուզում եմ մի բան գրեմ, ուզում եմ մի բան produce անեմ, բայց research եմ անում եւ այդպես այսօր վաղը կարող եմ ինքս իմ idea-ների կողքը կանգնեմ. If somebody asks me like, why do you think like that? I'm not just going to say because X said so. I've done some research and I can support that. I can support that research. Right? Good. Anyone, would you like to add anything?
Do you want me to get someone for the projector?
Oh, yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Wait.
Oh. Yeah, probably. Thank you. Who wants to add something on Zoom?
I can add something. It's always about researching, even if you think that you know the topic, because there is always area that you don't know. So it's always about researching. It doesn't matter if you are into that idea or topic or not. So I think it's just about how deeply your research is. Depends on how much information you already have.
That's very nice. Thank you, Maggie Jan. Just give us a second. Namor has come to our rescue. Oh, if it happens again, what do I do? Do I just toggle that?
Jiggle back and forth.
Everyone on Zoom, you don't know this, but we're having problems with the screen. So Thank you, Namor. Did everyone, Hasmik wasn't present, so Maggie was saying that even if you know like a topic, it's still worth researching. Like, you don't only have to research stuff you don't know, you can like research stuff that like you do know, but maybe you want to go deeper, maybe you want to explore another approach.
That's actually
Good.
the most fun thing. That's probably just my favorite thing to do, because like when you think about it, why do we walk, for example? Like the basic things like that. But how do we speak? Like how do vibrations work? Is music, every single voice is vibration, but like why does that work? How is it so? Why do parrots, like for example, speak words? Like we know as even like since we're 2, we know parrots repeat words, but why? Like why do parrots favor words, like curse words and all that stuff? Like it's usually the reaction they get, and it's also so like I'm gradually like flowing into the type of stuff that I found when I asked these type of questions to myself and found some interesting answers. It's just that they, as a species, have to communicate with more interesting voices and like develop their own culture. And actually, if we were to talk about that as well, like for example, there's this killer whales and stuff. Like I just drifted into like the random knowledge of animals that I know. But the thing is that getting to know stuff that we think we know, that's probably the most fun thing ever. Like stuff that we don't even ask ourselves. Why is it so? Like why is it so that 99.9% of animals who ever live on planet Earth are extinct? Like why did those 4 extinction events happen and we don't even know what that's supposed to be?
That is very interesting, Arman. Thank you. For the purpose of our Zoom participants, Arman was saying, continuing like Maggie's line of thought, and saying that some of the greatest fun we can have is kind of rediscovering stuff that we think we know. And like gradually we get to see that, okay, wow, like this aspect of it, I still hadn't thought about, whatever. I thought I knew it, but I can't read a little bit more about it. Sorry, Namor, I completely killed the projector. But you know, if it's okay, on Zoom they can just take a look at the screen, and everyone else, they have their Telegram channels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Telegram channels?
Yeah.
Yes. Good. We'll just do it Telegram channels. So, thank you, Namor. I'm sorry. Good. Okay, everyone. Now, so we're gonna come back at the end to this brainstorming that we did. But first, the thing is, yes, you all talked beautifully about like research, the importance of research, etc. You talked so beautifully, I skipped one of the slides because you kind of covered everything. But now, what if I did my research, I've got lots of data, lots of cool data. I want to write my piece. There are some pitfalls to avoid. Հետազոտությունը արել եմ, ամեն ինչ կատարել եմ, հիմա ուզում եմ գրվածքը գրել, ուղղակի կարող է պատահի ինչ որ խնդիրներ առաջ կան, եւ հիմա մասին խոսենք, որ ինչպես կարելի է հետազոտության միջոցով ձեռք բերած գիտությունը, իմացությունը օգտագործել տեքստ գրելու մեջ, okay? Եվ ինչ գործեր ավելի լավ է չանենք. Everyone, please take a look at this. The Armenian version is in the next slide. I've also shared this in the form of a PDF in the Telegram channel. I've also shared it as like 2 different pictures there. So whichever one you're comfortable with, English, Armenian, doesn't make a difference. Just have a read, and here's the question. What is the problem with this text? Is text the միատ խնդիր ունի? Խնդիրն ինչ է?
The problem that the text has or the text is addressing?
The problem that the text has, like you read it and you go like, yeah, but,
Okay.
Imagine your editors. Դուք ուզում եք edit անեք, դուք ուզում եք բարելավեք այս տեքստը։ Ինչպես կբարելավեք իրեն? Everyone on Zoom, is the task clear? Our dear friends on Zoom, is the task clear? Yeah?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, let me just bring the screen. Here. Okay. I'll give you, let's say, 3 to 4 minutes, and then we will discuss. One more minute, and then we discuss, okay? Lovely people on Zoom, feel free to write in the chat box whatever you want. That is not me. I promise that's not Morse fault. But it's also our internet, so let's just wait it out.
I'm sure it's okay if you're turning it up.
Oh, it's this.
Yeah,
It's the computer.
yeah, you can turn it off because he's also getting it.
Yeah, let's just turn it off.
It went away. I just wish all problems were like this. You just ignore it, it goes away.
Yeah.
Good.
Actually, it shows that I lately been trying to be more active. That's why I just started saying, turn it off. Let's turn it off. Let's do something bad. That's not a problem.
Okay. Yeah, as I was saying, dear people on Zoom, please feel free to suggest your edits in the chat box if you want, or you can talk about it whenever you want. Okay? So you decide.
I can say something, actually, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Everyone, is it okay if we start?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, Maggie Jan, go.
Okay, well, for me, the problem, well, it's not a problem, but which I've noticed in this text is that the author, while doing research, he tried to use like every information he got in the result of research and put it in the text. So he doesn't like clean up it for using. He just put it as he got it. I don't know how to describe it. It's just, it's not always interesting, and maybe it's not in the style to read like some research part, which is not adapting for the text. And it's like too much details which are not always needed.
Very good. Maggie Jan, thank you.
It's like my observational.
So everyone, is it clear what Maggie said? Who agrees with her? Who wants to add anything? Armand Jan.
I agree with that. That's probably the first thing that I noticed, that the research is displayed like way too literally in this text. That's what I felt like. And this would feel like you can't really tell if it's a book about woodwork or a literary or a piece of literature, let's say, creative literature. Like you can't tell if it's a story or educational material. And if you're a woodworker reading this type of stuff, like a starting woodworker, a junior who wants it like as practically explained to them, this would be the perfect thing you would want to have when starting your journey into woodworking. But I suspect this is not a book written for starting woodworkers, so there's probably the context makes it problematic. Like the context frames this feature of the text as a problem.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Is this a story, or is it Wikipedia? Or is it like a fancy book for beginner woodworkers, right? Very good.
Yeah.
Safety instructions. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
To get your hands chopped off.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Yes. And then there is the most boring thing, like statistics. Like every year, so many people die from this and that. Exactly.
Thank you. Hasbikjan, is that credible? Like, you've got a boy and you've got a woodworker, like an adult. Is it credible that the adult would go into statistics like this many people? Is that credible in the dialogue? Do you believe it?
I don't know. I don't think I necessarily agree with you guys. I don't disagree. But,
Go on.
some people talk like that.
Exactly. If we're, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, if we're trying to show character, that's what we would say. But these are his thoughts. Like, I don't think that a character has to be established in relation to the reader. Rather, it should be established towards the other characters.
Very nice.
Again, that's the way I interpret that, but definitely there are people who think like that as well.
Very nice. Yeah. Yes, very interesting. Exactly. It's like he's not, and Hasbikjan, you pointed out something very beautiful. Yes, it's possible that somebody will talk like that. It's possible, but it's strange, right? It quickly becomes like, you want to know more? You want to know, like, why is this guy giving statistics, right? Very nice. And also, as Armand said, like if he were saying all of that stuff about like how he manages the oak and the lathe and the stuff, maybe you'd say he's giving like a tutorial of sorts. It would still be strange, but I mean, these are his thoughts. So it's kind of like he's thinking a manual to himself while he's working with the log, which makes it sound a little bit like WikiHow, just a little bit. So, yeah, reasonably, like if we're not dealing with a very weird character, which we could, but like we would have to develop it in a way that makes it credible. But reasonably, if this is like kind of like a character, the character that we expect him to be, it's a bit too much. And Maggie also mentioned that it's a bit boring. Like at some point you go like, okay, why do I need to know this again? Right?
And for such a short, imagine you like it's such a short task, you're already bored.
Yeah.
And probably you need to like it's a book or something. So.
Just imagine. Yeah. Just imagine how much more of this stuff you're gonna have to read.
Yeah.
Very good. So yeah, if you take a look at the next slide, here it goes. And for people on Telegram, I didn't share it before because I didn't want to give away the answers. So here it is. Here you go. You can see some red parts, right? So I'd like to announce that I added the red parts myself. These weren't a part of the text. I just went through a lot of research about woodwork and lathes and like managing logs, and I put it there. So well spotted. That was too much because I had added it. The writer is a good writer, but yeah, so that's one thing. No Wikipedia, and we always ask ourselves, is it reasonable that this person, this character in a story, the speaker in a poem, is it reasonable that this person would talk like this? For a child, statistics don't make that much of a sense. Like you go too much into numbers, the child gets bored. So it's reasonable that the guy would just skip the statistics and just say, you know, you've got to be careful, you'll get chopped off, right? Good. Okay. Any questions? Anything anyone wants to add?
It just reminded me of a quote from Antoine de Saint-Exupéry that as soon as people turn into adults, they like numbers too much. It just reminded me that it sort of gets stereotypical because like people, when they get to comprehend numbers, they like numbers. They like to see numbers go up. So you'd ideally want to bring in numbers when you're trying to describe something good. Like I think like devs wouldn't make as much sense, but like it's even like it's probably the only reason like I'm a game designer professionally, and probably the only reason why clicker games, like when you click and you get money, the only reason why clicker games are still a thing and they're profitable is that we people like to see numbers go up. That's all there is to it.
That is so interesting. Wow, thank you, Armanjan. I literally didn't know that, but it makes so much sense. Thank you, Armanjan.
I like to see numbers go up, and it just reminded me of the thought that children don't really care about numbers as much.
Exactly. Yes, you're totally right. Yes. So it just sounds a bit off. Like, why would you say this to a child? Thank you. I love that quote by Saint-Exupéry. Good. Okay, so we trim it down, we take away the extra bits, we get a very nice little paragraph where the woodworker meets the kid, they have a very credible dialogue, everything is okay, and the rest of the story comes. Good. Moving on. So, warming her pearls. Who wants to read this? If it's easier, I can post a picture of this too. Here it is. It's in your Telegram. English, Armenian, whichever you like.
I could go.
Go on.
Warming her pearls. Next to my skin her pearls. I wear them, warm them until evening when I brush her hair. At 6 I place them round her cool white throat. All day I think of her resting in the yellow room contemplating silk or taffeta. Which gown tonight? She fans herself, slack on my neck her pearls.
Very good. Thank you. Now, in this one, your task is a little bit different. Please skip forward to the next slide. Bear in mind what you read here, okay? Don't forget that. Skip forward to the next slide, right? And tell me what difference it makes for you to have the blue bits. Take your time, you've got 3 to 4 minutes. What difference does it make to have the blue bits? Dear Zoom participants, if you want me to scroll around, just let me know. But you've also got it on Telegram, so let me know. Okay, let's start wrapping up our thoughts. And who wants to go first? Go on.
The blue sections like serve no cause, like they're useless. Like they don't contribute to anything. Like it's just it evokes comedy, but the thing is that this is probably not supposed to be comical, so it's probably not. It would be better if it was not there. So the thing is that they just take away by adding words, and there's this principle, actually it's a design principle, that if you have an option of keeping, reducing, or adding, you have to always reduce. You have to keep the bare minimum that communicates the thought, the idea. And adding more context where it's not necessary, it's going to doom your text.
Very interesting ideas. Who wants to talk about that?
I disagree strongly.
Go on.
The blue parts make it a whole different poem, but they're adding like important context, which is like the relationship between the two people, which we didn't have without the blue parts at all. It's a completely different poem. It's also not. This isn't design. It's like poetry, so the principles are different.
Very nice. So people on Zoom, just gonna explain so I can.
Wondering what kind of comment is that, to be honest.
Team Armand says blue parts are like too much, unnecessary, and I do get where you're coming from though. And Team Hasmik says blue parts are necessary because they add to the poem. Who's Team Armand? Who's Team Hasmik? There are literally no wrong answers, but we're just teaming up to see what happens. Giulietta.
Can I do
Team what?
one more? I'm on the third team.
Your third team. Okay, Team Maggie. What do you say?
I think that both of them are like okay, they're just different. But I mean, the second one with blue parts, it shows more connection. The first one is like the characters, the persons which are in this poem, they are not connected, like they are separated. And in the second one, they are like not communicating, but they are kind of together, binding with some connection. So they're
Very
just
nice.
different.
I got what you're saying, Maggie. So I'm gonna, if it's okay, I know like what you said isn't exactly what Hasmik said, but because it's a bit similar, like she also talked about the relationship between the people,
Okay.
I'm gonna sort you into Team Hasmik if that's okay.
Okay. Sure.
Julieta.
I would take off like the first part and keep the second. So it's like more like you don't tell it, like the sexual relationship or whatever they have. Because in the first version you think it's like mother and daughter or something. And in the second like it's completely different. So like you wanna keep this sort of like uncertainty in the first part, and then you're gonna give this like rope or something to kill like the reader in that part. So it kinda like makes like just leave some parts of the blue, but like some of them can like work in the rope. So like
Very nice. Very diplomatically, Julieta is kind of in the middle. She's like, if you want more enigma, the first one,
oh yeah,
right?
I would want more like enigma rather than like
So you're with the first one.
like no, I mean like enigma in the first part of that, and then being like revealing something.
Beautiful. Like you want a poem that's enigmatic at first and then reveals stuff.
To be
Bit
for
by
you kind of like shocking, like kind of not maybe great shock, but like a bit of like
Surprise.
kind of slapping you or like doing something like hitting you or something.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So kind of like what her rope does here,
Yeah.
but without the whole like my mistress part that kind of gives it
Yeah,
away,
to
but with the
reveal-
rope part.
And then if like you reveal it too soon, kind of.
Yeah, the mistress one, yeah. Yeah, that's an early revelation. I
Yeah.
agree. So you would like ditch the blue ones but keep the rope one for
Yeah.
kind of like that aha moment. Good. Namor, are you participating? Do I ask you or not?
I'm a bit out of it, but I will on the next one.
Okay. So, Carol and Duffy, which is like the writer, would be on Team Hasmik.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that what you said isn't right. Like you're right. It's more enigmatic. It's asking us to explore stuff, but at the same time, the blue stuff give the reader something like information that the first one doesn't. And in the first version, it's possible that the reader will go, warming someone's pearls? Like, is that a thing? You know, like, what? Warm your own pearls. Why should I warm your pearls? Right? But in the second one, it makes sense. Why? Because, like, right from the start, you're being given this piece of information where it says, like, already you know, okay, so, like, the relationship has this power dynamic. One of them is probably like a maid or like a servant. The other one is not. So it kind of it stops you asking that question of, warming her pole? It kind of stops you, right? Because it makes sense from the start. Thank you everyone for playing this game. Good job, all. So what I wanted to discuss based on this was when we do research, when we do lots of research, it's true that we become more knowledgeable than our readers. Երբ հետազոտությունը շատ ենք անում, մենք մեր կարդացողից ավելի շատ գիտենք. But the thing is, the reader doesn't want to feel inferior to us. One of the reasons, and this has been proven, one of the reasons why Shakespeare's work is so popular is that he always gives the audience a lot of information. Like, at times the characters don't have the information, but the audience do, so they feel very smart and nice and like they're cool with it, right? And that's one of the reasons why he's so popular. So as a writer, we don't want to like refer to the research in a way that makes the reader go like, is it me? Am I not getting this? We don't want to give that feeling to the reader. So whether here or like in any other piece, it's just a question of giving enough clues. I'm not saying make it Wikipedia, WikiHow, no. We talked about that, but like give them enough clues so that they feel in charge. The reader needs to feel like, okay, you're taking them on a journey that they are well capable of coming on. If you lose them with information that you're referring to very obliquely, like you say a little bit here, like the warming of the pearls, and you don't say enough, it's possible you'll lose them because they will feel that they don't belong to that universe in which your text is. They're outsiders, and they don't want to stay there. Good. So, չենք կարդացողին, չենք վատ էմոցիաներ տալիս, ինչպես որ օրինակ դու չգիտես կամ ըզգա մեզ հետ չի կարող գա, ըզգա այդ աշխարհին չի պատկանում, որտեղ օրինակ հետազոտության ճանապարհով ստացած գիտելիքները շատ էսպես բան ենք օգտագործել, ոչ պարզ, sense մեքիչ էստեղ, մեքիչ այնտեղ, մենք հասկանում ենք, բայց կարդացողը չի հասկանում եւ կորցվում է, չի սիրում շարունակի։ Good. I said it in Armenian too. Moving on. So that's the second one. Let's go with the next one. Sharing it on Telegram too. Here we go. Who wants to read it out loud?
What I didn't know before is how horses simply give birth to other horses. Not a baby by any means, not a creature of limited spaces, but already a four-legged beast, well-bound and walking, scrambling up to the mother. A horse gives way to another horse, and then suddenly there are two horses, just like that.
Mm-hmm. You have 1 minute to think about what's a bit iffy about this text. What would you ask its writer? Like if the writer was right here, what would you ask the writer? Short question. Ready? What would you ask the writer?
I'm so honest. I have no questions. I don't know. I'm sorry.
That's absolutely fine.
The same here. Like I love it. Like I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually love the way the title blends into the following text. Like what I didn't know before was how horses, I like this type of stuff, like playing around, like trying to break the boundaries that you were handed, like with work.
Yeah, me too. And I love it too. And I agree that it's a very beautiful piece. It's very beautiful, but I still have one question I'd like to ask the writer. Julieta? Or Maggie? Do you have any questions?
I liked it. I don't have any questions.
I'm sending.
Why it? I mean, I think that's a metaphor for something different. But why horses? I mean, there are different animals which appear just like horses. Why?
But what did you say a moment ago? You said that should be a
metaphor, maybe for something different.
Thank
I don't
you.
think it's about horses.
Thank you. And that's my question. And I'm putting it on Telegram, people. So what? Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you. I needed to know how horses give birth to other horses, but so what? Right? And as Maggie said, she was like, oh my God, this needs to be a metaphor for something. So naturally, the writer won't leave us there. And you're all totally right. I haven't spoiled this poem. It's exactly as the poet put it there. That's why it's so beautiful. But it's got a second half. Yeah. Who wants to read the second half? The blue part. And I'm going to put that on Telegram as well. Uh-huh. Go on, Hasminjan. Here's the blue part. Uh-huh.
That's how I loved you. You off a long train from Red Bank, carrying a copy as big as your arm, a bag with 2 computers swinging in it unwieldingly at your side. I remember we broke into laughter when we saw each other. What was between us wasn't a fragile thing to be coddled, cooed over. It came out fully formed, ready to run.
This is good. This is really good.
Very resolution. The aha moment. The answer to the so what, because we're not interested in horses per se. I mean, yeah, if you've got horses, maybe you like to read about horses, but reasonably, we need the second section to kind of give us, as Maggie said, to give us a sense of, okay, you gave me this information, but why? So that's the third pitfall. Giving information. Giving and like giving information but not really saying why, saying what's the significance, what's the deeper meaning, like this research that we did, this ideas that we shared, why did we do it, what's the deeper significance, what's the deeper meaning.
Yeah.
Goody.
It's sort of like setting up the game pieces and then connecting them.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
like that type of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Good. So we saw 3 examples. Let me see what time it is. Oh, we're doing so well for time. We saw 3 examples. Everyone, you can go into your slides now, into the PDF that I shared now, because we haven't got lengthy readings anymore. This is a recap. The first pitfall was lengthy information, as you see. Does everyone have the slides? PDF? Good. So we don't want lengthy narration, description, because it bores the reader and makes them feel like you're showing off a little bit. Like, you know, I know all about lathes and woodwork and you don't. Right? And we don't want that. Patching creative writing and research findings together, just patching them. Again, like the first piece, no mentality, like just patching them together. Again, it makes it sound like we're showing off. People on Zoom, can you hear me? Good. But this is good. This is like the research, like the extra too much bits and pieces, you know, we're good. And the obscure and ambiguous allusions to your research. Obscurity is good. Nobody's saying it's bad, but like we have to manage it carefully. So we're bringing the reader along, and so the reader doesn't feel inferior in this world that we have created. Namor took the phone.
Oh.
Oh.
He's coming back.
Welcome back, everyone. Maggie, are you with us? Maggie, are you with us? Maybe people are writing in the chat box. Let me see. So while people are coming back, I'm just going to say this, then I'll say it again for their benefit. And the third one, the third pitfall was no personal touch, you know, just information. Even if it's like very beautifully laid out. Oh. Maggie John, what about now? Can you hear us?
Oh, sorry. Was me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
It's fine, it's fine. Good, good. Yeah, so Maggie John, as we were saying, the third kind of pitfall that we discussed was no personal touch. Like, you can make it really beautiful, you can make it the most lyrical and beautiful and musical and rhythmic and whatever poem that you've ever seen, but it needs to have like some significance other than just information sharing. Namor to the rescue again, everyone.
1 second. It's going to drop off and then reconnect. Should it back online now? Yeah.
I think Maggie's online now. Good. And to recap, before we do some writing together. Let's go here. I'm really sorry, but it's not scrolling down.
Okay.
Sorry.
It should be.
Okay.
Good.
Is that better?
And yes, perfect. Can somebody read the last two? Careful not to.
His findings.
Julieta, do you want to read it?
His findings as crutch, not stimulus. His research to simplify rather than appreciate and exploit complexities.
Very good. So, what does it mean? Don't use research as a crutch. What does it mean? Crutch is like kind of the thing we walk with. What does it mean? Don't use it as a crutch.
To make sure that the work is not based entirely on the research. Instead, we should be using research to support whatever we're trying to make.
Very good. Yes. Research isn't the work. Like, I did it perfect. Now I've got the work. No. It's a stimulus. It can create, it can help us create the work. It can inspire the work. And the second one? Sorry, Maggie John, if you want, you can also share your ideas.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Oh, sure.
Oh, okay. I thought.
Juliet.
Actually, this is like use research to simplify rather than appreciate. and
But it says
exploit.
careful not to.
Not to, and then I was like, wait, okay, this is fine then. Like, why do you want to use research to simplify? I was like, this is like weird.
Exactly. Yeah. The idea is like, the moment you do research, you don't come up with these beautiful, like, massive, golden, and that is your piece. More often than not, like, if you do, like, deep enough research, you come up with so many different points of view, so many, and it helps you with the complexity of your piece, not with simplifying it. Especially, the main danger is when you do research, but you don't do enough research. Like, for example, let's say it's a Shakespeare play. One person believes that this character is a good character, another person thinks it's a bad character. If I only read the stuff written by people who think it's a good character, I'm gonna be so sure that this character is good, I'm going to write about it, and I'm just not going to engage with the complexities. Why? Because I didn't do the full research. I didn't read about the people who disagreed, the other points of view, etc. So as Julieta said, who wants simplification? That's boring.
I was surprised you put it in here.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure that the list was complete.
Can I add?
Of course, Maggie John.
I think that it's important to do research, of course, but you said that it's important to do research enough, but I think that it's important as well to know when to stop doing research. Because I have the problem that when I start doing research, I do research for so long that I don't have to do the project in the end. Like all the time, I think that I don't have enough information and I have to know more and look through more information and more stuff. And in the end, it either or kills the mood completely or I have so much information that I don't know what to do with it, and I want to include everything, and I have to do research in the research I've already done. So
you're right, yeah.
It's a complicated thing, but important thing to find that middle thing in the research. So yeah.
The sweet spot where you stop, where you make sure that you have explored enough different points of view, but you're also you just decide that, okay, I'm just going to start creating now. And if worse comes to worst and I need more information, I'm just going to do more research then. For now, let's just start creating. Maggie, you're totally right. Thank you so much for sharing that too. I should have put this at the list, careful not to overkill it. Thank you, Maggie Jo. Good. Is there anything anyone wants to add before we write?
I want to add about the second point, that the poem that was there. This example is more it doesn't feel as much about research because it's an interpersonal situation that you don't really have to research. And the way I thought about this one, I've been thinking about it all this time, is that sometimes you as a reader don't want to be treated as someone stupid, and you don't want to be over-explained stuff. Even there are details, you want more authentic explanations, not more to be handed every single piece, and you want to sometimes interpret on your own. And I've been, again, I'm coming from game design because there are these whole world buildings, and you have no idea why are there, for example, gigantic swords used as gravestones, for example, and the way they are labeled are worlds not desperate to explain themselves. And I really like that idea that I'm just being thrown in there to discover on my own, because knowing things, people ignore this often, but knowing things often gets boring.
I agree. And in writing too, no, Armanjan, you're totally right. In writing it's like this too. We have this...
excuse me, I just wanted to find why do I not agree with this thing that I have to over-explain, because I've been writing like that and I bored myself.
Yeah.
I just bore myself when I too much, and I want to enjoy my writing as a reader as well, because at the same time.
No, you're right. You do not over-explain. No, you're absolutely right. In writing too, it's not just in game design. In writing too, we have something called show, don't tell. So you don't tell the reader. For example, in the Carol Ann Duffy poem, the person doesn't come, I'm a servant in a Victorian household, I have a mistress, right? You don't over-explain. She just she uses the metaphor of the rope instead of the necklace, right? And then she uses the word mistress, but we both know that we all know that mistress has many meanings. But the rope plus the mistress, okay, that helps you form an idea. But she doesn't go out and say, I have a very difficult life as a servant in a Victorian house. That would be over-explaining, and that would be boring. And yes, in writing too, when you're world building, in a poem, wherever, you do not tell. Yes, because the thing is, readers feel they feel like you're attacking their intelligence in two situations. If you tell them too much, if you don't tell them enough, right? So it's like all about finding that sweet spot where you tell them just enough to make sure they can figure out the rest.
By the way, I just remembered of something why, again, I like this idea of not, like, telling desperately bad, like, little amount of information, because there's this book that I read. It's one of the first futuristic works, like cyberpunk futuristic works. And it came after the one that originated Blade Runner. So it was all this, technology, androids and all this stuff, like, question this, where does the human stop and where does the robot begin, and vice versa. And a writer, William Gibson, who wanted to submit his book, it was pretty much what was already released. I think he was taking his book to the editor, and he found out that a different book that's almost exactly what he wrote. And then he came back, he rewrote his book maybe 5 times, and this is how came about Neuromancer. It's called Neuromancer, and half of the terms used in the book do not exist. Like, it's not even explained. He doesn't even explain at the bottom of the page. Like, you just have to imagine, like, I don't know, how could stereophone look? Like, the words that he's used and that don't exist in real life, for example. Like, you just have to read and imagine to yourself, what could that look like? And I really love that idea. But I know that if I were to read, like, if the books that I read, every single book was like that, I wouldn't enjoy that. I wouldn't enjoy reading books. It could be an amazing, once in a while treat.
Yeah, like an experiment, or like, as you said, like, you read 10 books, one can be like that. Like a little bit like James Joyce's Ulysses, You can't, like, read 10 books like it, but you can read it once.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that. And yes, again, to clarify, I am we're going to have another workshop, and you're going to see that I am a believer in less is more. Less is more. But it's just a question of, because you've done a lot of research, it's absolutely possible that at some point you will forget that your less is too little. Like, it's just a question of just remembering that you give them enough clues to piece them together. As long as you do that, you do not over-explain. Because again, in that situation, again, they will feel like you're attacking their intelligence. Good. Thank you, Armando. That was a wonderful insight that you shared. Good. Any other ideas?
Just a little detail about the rope being, like, even if it's a rope, it could be, it's like shimmering a bit again. Like, it could be a rope in a kind of like dependent sort of like passion, whatever, for example. So it's still, even in that, there is a like film for interpretation if we don't know the writer and the context, for example.
I agree. Yeah. So that's beautiful.
And
even though
is it your translation or something? Like, there was in Armenian that it was like lover, right? So the translation was like
the translation is mine. Yeah. I'm guilty. Yeah, you're right. Even the rope, again, it gives you enough, but it doesn't, like, lock you. Stop you, crush you, lock you into a single interpretation. Perfect. Good. Let's write. So, Maggie-Jan, are you okay if we move on? Writing? Please say you're
Yeah,
there.
sure.
Okay. Moving on. Everyone, here you have some words that you can see. I will give you. Okay, 8:17. I will give you about 5 minutes to I will give you about 5 minutes to do an overall research about this. Any term you want. You can even mix them up, but I don't think 5 minutes is going to be enough for them. Research them, get some ideas, note down some ideas, and then either you can write the poem if you want, Or you can share a concept for a poem that you're thinking of, and then you can write it and send it to me on Telegram. Right? So, like, yeah. Good.
Do we need paper?
People, do we need paper or do we have scribes? Yeah. I can give people paper. I just can't give people pencils because I don't have enough. Actually, I do have enough.
We do have paper and pencils and all. Okay.
It's fun.
I'm just a very slow writer. I'm left-handed. Like, actually, I'm ambidextrous, but I just said I'm left-handed because I was born left-handed. So I'm really slow. I'm really slow with this.
Don't
Thank you.
worry. Everyone has their own pace. You don't have to write the poem now. Just conceptualize. You can share it with me later if you want.
Okay. Could you please repeat this for the slow ones? We didn't catch what we need to do.
We're slow. I have some.
Oh, you have some. Yeah, basically just choose one word.
Okay.
Do some research, anything you want. Nobody expects a lot of depth. And just conceptualize a poem. Like, what would you write about? How would you approach it? Or write the poem if you're feeling ambitious.
just walk around. Like I think
Of course.
it's easier for you to just walking out, just come up from there.
No, it's absolutely fine. You can even go up here and come down. Ten seconds. Yeah. We can do like one extra minute too, though.
We had to choose 3 topics.
Oh, that's a very ambitious thing you've done if you have chosen 3 topics. One would be okay for me.
No, I'm just checking.
One would be enough for me, but like 3 would be just perfect.
No, it's too much.
Yeah, you may find it like a bit difficult mixing and matching them up, but yeah, you decide. Search for art. One more minute and then we start. Is there anyone who wants to share? You can share your concept, like no pressure. Or you can share it on Telegram later with me. That's absolutely fine.
I'll share, but I will go first.
Okay, that sounds very reasonable, yes. Concept.
I can.
Let me just tell Armand to come so he's also here.
So he doesn't hear.
Armand, can you hear us? Yeah. Ah, perfect. We're about to start. Good. Okay, go on, Julieta.
Yeah, I just chose the dance.
Mhm.
Dance part. Because I think I either even know the word or like I don't remember it, and so like it was like natural curious from all of them. So yeah, then I've just opened the dictionary and I started thinking about it. It's made even like it's not, and also so there was like some mocking there. And I was thinking about, like, I'm reading about, like, how I was thinking that a woman who's probably the dancer is, like, female dance, so she's, like, mocking somebody. But it's kind of, when you look at the word, you know, like, other meanings and different connotations, turns out the woman is kind of mocking herself. Because she is, like in other this examples, it's, like, to pretend that you are refusing somebody or like being like that. So you kind of like mocking yourself. So.
Good.
which is kind of sad. I was like coming, I mean, I didn't think about it like in the first place, but it's like going from, you know, a power position to somewhere like you're like walking or something.
That's very interesting. So like if you had to do a poem, like how would you approach that?
I would just like throw the process of it. If there is something like something or something like the word that I told you.
Julieta, that's wonderful. If you've got time, you write that poem. I'd be so happy to read it. Thank you. Yes, and this is such a good example of how research opens up our universe, kind of like alerts us to other connotations, other possibilities. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Not the first, so the second.
I chose the second one, Fear of the Dark. I forgot what it's called already.
Nyctophobia.
Nyctophobia, yeah. The research, I mean, I guess the research is done because the house I grew up in, the lights would go out a lot. So, and it's like a really dark house. There's like, it's not in the city, so there's like no lights outside either. So we'd often have to like go to the basement because we had like I don't know what it's called, but it's like for emergency power supply. Whatever. But I used to have like a fear of the dark. Well, yeah, what the concept would be of the phone is I used to have a fear of the dark. But then every time the lights would go out, like it would take a couple of minutes, then I'd be like, everything is like actually exactly where I left it. So it's actually fine.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. Like dealing with a fear like that. Very interesting. I'd love to read your poem.
All right.
Good. Thank you for sharing that concept of the poem. Thank you, Hasbikja. Anyone else want to share?
Okay, so I picked shoplifting. No connections there. So I researched it on Wikipedia, and statistics are kind of boring, but there was a section about the businesses that closed because of shoplifting, and for some reason one particular one in Hazelwood is highlighted. So they had a story in a newspaper about how the business of father and son so they went out of business because of the thieves and made a big story about it. So Michael and son did PO. Yeah, and I tried to make something really fast, and it's really funny to me. So you've been picking at me, piece by piece, sneaking under your shirt, snickering and doe-eyed. So I'm done, like that mine was store in Hazelwood, 2008. So sorry, Michael and son, you've been working for the benefit of thieves.
That was really good. Thank you. No, that was so fun.
The last one is a quote that they said. We've been working
For the benefit of the. That's so nice. Like, wow, that's fantastic. First of all, the poem was very nice, and like because you used the quote, like you could take like an article and like cut it up.
Yeah.
Found poetry.
Yeah.
Why not? Very nice. Thank you. No, that was so interesting. I was wondering if anyone would pick shoplifting because, like, it's not anybody's first favorite. Like, with dream catchers, you know, or with like other stuff, you know, you can relate more, but shoplifting. Thank you, Namo. Wonderful.
I'm ready. I actually took 6 of the words. It's just a concept I haven't written the thing yet. So I figured that the poem of an alcoholic later with a post-war concussion and acquired dyslexia. So why did I choose that? It's just this, I don't know if it counts as cheating, I just know that there was a statistic that the majority of entrepreneurs were dyslexic. They had dyslexia. The thing is that they had issues in school. Like the way they, sort of psychologists try to attribute it, explain it, is that the people who had trouble reading in school and writing in school would naturally get someone else to do that for them, and that's pretty much the core of entrepreneurship. And that's why I chose this. And so the first layer, dyslexia, is acquired as a result of brain injury. So we have that. And then we have wine, the 4 phases of wine, so to say. The process of ripening of wine. The grape is normal state, which is the normal condition of this person who, like before war and all that stuff, well, not necessarily war, before the trauma. And there's the Federweiser state, which is what wine is before it is fermented enough to be wine, like Magyar. So that's when he becomes dyslexic. So he's not fresh anymore, but that doesn't mean he doesn't attain his sweetness. So he's sweet to a degree. And wine is the success, like you find success as an entrepreneur, and then wine gone bad is still in wine. But I haven't really, there's a bit of convolution in here. I'm going to try to tie all of this up later. I want to write this, I just got excited. Okay, so shoplifting, wine would be the dream catcher. So he would steal wine and be suspended and be taken to jail, where he's kept up by the stress, so that he doesn't sleep, because he has fear of the night. So nyctophobia comes into the play as well. And
I think you've probably conceptualized a poetry collection there. Very interesting.
And that's not the whole thing. And then there's, like, you have this successful entrepreneur who is constantly, like, who is very good at his job, he's making all this success and all this stuff, but he's always in the jail for stealing wine he could easily buy. And, you know, the punishments get more and more severe, so I feel like this is the waltz with life. Like it's a consistent dance of going back and forth, you know. And aside from that, I wanted to, the clock, after all this, the clock part sounds a bit basic, but each quarter of the day is a phase of his life, like, again, like the way I described fermentation, like, I don't know, 3 a.m. is when he's fresh, and then 6 p.m. he gets like dyslexia and all this stuff, like it's a circle.
Oh my God, that's very interesting. Thank you. I didn't think you can put these together, but clearly you can. And you can bring out like a collection from there. And I'm very happy you chose dyslexia. I was like hoping somebody would, because that's also one place where research is crucial. Because especially if like I want to write about dyslexia and I don't have dyslexia, if I don't do the proper research, it's very possible, indeed probable, that my piece will be insensitive. And like someone with dyslexia is definitely gonna spot it. Their relatives are gonna spot it. Their friends are gonna spot it. So I'm very happy you picked that. In my opinion, maybe